What's up, everybody? It's the Sports Code aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Today, for many people who might not be aware, the All-Star starters have been announced for both the East and the West. It's a very big topic of discussion. People might think other players have been snubbed, but honestly, in my opinion, before I announce the starter, I just want to say a lot of these starters are probably the right choices to make. Honestly, I don't think many of them are were undeserving of those positions. So fantastic from the fans who voted for a lot of these players. I think most of them are well deserved, if all of them are really well deserving of being in the discussion of being a starter. So congratulations to the players, congratulations to the fans who wanted those players to be in there. It's going to be a very good All-Star game, it looks like, because there is still so many players who haven't been picked yet for the reserves and the bench that are also going to be put in that All-Star game. It's going to be very competitive, and I'm looking forward to it. So for those who do not know, let's see if I can do this without looking. The All-Star participants for the West is LeBron James, James Harden, Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, and Kawhi Leonard. Those, I believe, are for the West. And for the East, we've got Giannis Antetokounmpo, Pascal Siakam, Joel Embiid, Kemba Walker, and Trae Young. Those are the East and the West starting lineups. Now, as I said before, they're very good players, and all of them are pretty much well deserving. Of course, being a Bulls fan, I am disappointed that Zach LaVine didn't get into the starters, and even from Derrick Rose, because he's from Chicago, former Bull, he didn't get into the starters. But it's not just about the Chicago community. I know it's in Chicago, but there are a lot of fans that wanted their voice to be heard. And I think a lot of them will be pretty proud of this. I know there's always going to be people that are snubbed and didn't make the All-Star starters, but I just think we've got to accept that people's voices, majority of them have been spoken, and it's come true for a lot of them. So congratulations to the players, and congratulations to the fans that wanted those players in the All-Star game. I'm sure it's going to be very competitive, and just like the previous seasons, I think this is going to be a really good one, man. It's going to be a really good All-Star weekend. So I just want to go through all the players and kind of explain why they're probably the starters, and of course, if I feel like they deserve to be starters. So we can start off with the West, because I think that West is absolutely dominant. All of those West players are probably in an MVP conversation. Yeah, that's crazy, man. The West is so overpowered. But anyway, LeBron James will start off with, because he's the captain of the West. Even though they will be choosing different players from different conferences, the West captain is definitely LeBron. And I personally wanted to see Luka Doncic be the captain, just because I wanted a fresh face to pick the teams. But LeBron does so much for basketball, and he does so much outside of basketball. And I think this is obviously why people vote for LeBron James. He does so much for the communities that he's around. He does so much on and off the court. He helps promote young businesses. He does a lot for the future of this, not only basketball, but the future generations that could potentially be successful. So you can't complain about LeBron James being the captain. I think he's an inspiration on and off the court for a lot of people. So anybody that even doesn't even want to watch basketball, because if you got to remember, the All-Star game is not just about basketball fans. It's also about people outside the realm of basketball coming and enjoying a weekend of just fun and entertainment. So you got to take that into perspective. So LeBron James is probably going to be the guy for that, and he's the leader of the NBA, he's the face of the NBA, and he's rightfully the captain of the NBA All-Star team. Well deserved. We also got James Harden, MVP candidate right there. Does a lot on and off the court as well. He helps the city of Houston a lot of charity. James Harden, you know what you're going to get with James Harden. Obviously, he's well deserved to be in the All-Star team if he's in the MVP race, and I couldn't be happier. All-Star is definitely what he is, man, and he's probably more than that. He's probably a very valuable player, one of the most. So he could even win the MVP. You never know. Another one that could also win the MVP, Luka Doncic. I love Luka Doncic. In his second season, and he's in the All-Star game, and he could have potentially been captain. Yeah, at one point, he was leading to be captain. I mean, that's just crazy to think about. In his second season, he ended up being in the All-Star game, and an All-Star starter nonetheless, beating a lot of fantastic players to get to the All-Star starters in his second season. And there's another one that I want to talk about as well that deserves it as well. But Luka, fantastic. I wish you were the captain for the West, but your time will come, man. You're a young one, so just keep grinding. And I'm sure a lot of All-Star games, All-Star startings, appearances, all of that will be in your future. Well done, Luka Doncic. Kawhi Leonard, I guess people could say Kawhi Leonard probably shouldn't deserve it just based on he doesn't play as many games as everybody else, and he does load management and all that, yada yada. Kawhi's the best player in the world. One of the best players in the world, Kawhi Leonard is. And there's no reason, I don't care how many games he plays, you cannot keep him out of an All-Star game. Absolutely not. They've done it to, even when Kobe Bryant was injured the whole season, they put him in the All-Star game. You want to know why? Even though he couldn't play and they had to replace him, because he's the best player. At the time, he was one of the best, if not the best player in the world. So Kawhi Leonard probably deserves the same, man. He is one of the best players in the world. And whether he does play or he goes to load management, if he's available, you need to get Kawhi Leonard on an All-Star team. Doesn't matter what the circumstances are. So Kawhi Leonard is deserving, in my opinion. And we've got Anthony Davis. Now, I think Anthony Davis has revolutionized what it's like to be a center in many ways this season. He doesn't really play center either, but like he's going to be the center of the All-Star game. He's been amazing when it comes to his stats. Defensively, he's been the best season defensively of his career. And he's from Chicago as well, so he's going to get a huge round of applause. He's going to get a standing ovation and everything. He's representing Chicago as much as he's representing LA. So, of course, I'm not going to complain about Anthony Davis. I think he's well and truly deserving to be a starter. And he's a starter. He's also in an MVP race, if you think about it. But congratulations to the West, to Anthony Davis. That's a hell of a team that you got there. If this was East versus West, I'm not sure how the East are going to cope. But let's go to the East, because they've got some good players too, man. The East, don't sleep on the East. We got the captain, Giannis. I think Giannis well and truly is the captain of this East team. By far, probably the best player. Monster, probably going to be the MVP. Most likely to be the MVP this season. And he's been killing it. He's been increasing his three-point percentage. His numbers are even better than last year. That's amazing. It's amazing that he's probably going to be the face of the NBA really, really, really soon if he isn't already. So congratulations to Giannis, another All-Star captain. We're going to see a pretty interesting face-off when it comes to the All-Star team selections. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to that. It's one of my favorite times of the All-Star weekend, actually seeing and picking, knowing what the NBA players actually feel about other players and how they choose their teams. It's pretty interesting, really. So yeah, we'll move on. We got Pascal Siakam at one of the forward positions. Now, Pascal, I'm sure you could put somebody else in Pascal's position. I think if anybody was to get out of the All-Star starters, it probably would be him. But I'm not even gonna entertain the idea of replacing Pascal Siakam, because you want to know why? This is his first season as the star of the Raptors. He is the main man for the Raptors, and he's made it into the All-Star starters. He's got all of Canada backing him, and he is deserving, because if you think about it, he's probably the best power forward that the NBA has to offer in terms of it being a proper power forward. I know Jason Tatum plays that position sometimes, but I don't think Jason Tatum's a power forward. I know it doesn't necessarily specify the forward, so maybe you could have an argument to put Jason Tatum in there, or even put Jimmy Butler in there as a forward, but I'm going to stick with Pascal. I think Pascal's a great choice, and I think he brings a lot of eyes to the NBA All-Star game from different... Like, if you're looking for marketing, Pascal is one of the most marketable players, because he's got now Canada watching him starting, and Canada love their basketball. They do. They won a championship. They're going to be watching. So Pascal's a great choice. It's a great choice when it comes to the for the votes and for the NBA to market this. So it's a fantastic way to introduce new eyes into the NBA. So congratulations, Pascal. He's done his job. He's killing the game, and he's taking the Raptors team by the throat, and he's making it his own. So congratulations. We'll go to Kemba Walker now. I do not think that there's anybody that probably deserves more than Kemba Walker in the East. I know I have a lot of friends that will debate this, saying that Derrick Rose could probably be starting, But if you be real to yourself, Kemba Walker's leading a fantastic Celtics team into a pretty good position to be in for Kemba Walker, who's not known for winning games, but he's leading that team, and that team is building a lot of chemistry. Everybody's sleeping on the Celtics at the moment, but Kemba Walker's the star of that team. If you think about it, he's the leader. He makes everything gel. He's the connector, man. So that's what he does. And I honestly believe that Kemba Walker is deserving of that. Yeah, there might be players better efficiency and all of that. Who cares? Who cares about that? Kemba Walker is well and truly deserving to be an All-Star. And I'm very proud, and he's one of my favourite players to watch. So congratulations to Kemba Walker. Well and truly deserved. I believe this is his 4th All-Star game. So we'll just... I'm not sure if he's actually started one. This is probably his first time starting, so that's a big accomplishment to have. You're making leaps forward in your career, so it's a great thing to see. We've also got Trae Young. Trae Young. Now, this is one that a lot of people are going to argue with probably because the record the Atlanta Hawks have is one of the worst in the NBA. I know it's not the worst, but it's one of the worst in the NBA. You simply cannot deny Trae Young his opportunity at the All-Star game. Look, if records mattered, then I don't think Trae Young would make the All-Star game. But why would the record matter if you're putting up unbelievable stats, unheard of stats, breaking records? You're Trae Young and you don't have any help, and you're breaking all these records, and you're making Atlanta entertaining to watch despite them losing nearly every game. There's no reason why you should not be in the All-Star game. I think Trae Young is probably the more deserving in many ways than probably you could say with Kemba Walker when it comes to stats. But it doesn't matter. They both made it. Trae Young, I think he's well and truly deserved to make it. Records are not everything. It is the All-Star game. It's not like he's winning the MVP or anything. So he deserves it, man. And I think being a starter, he deserves it. Like, he'll name a guard that has put up better stats than Trae Young. There's not many out there. There's not many out there, especially in the East. I know you could argue Ben Simmons. You could probably argue Kyrie Irving, but he hasn't played a lot, so it's not really fair if you put Kyrie as a starter. So who else could there be? Who else could there be that could put stats up like Trae Young? And I'll leave that to you guys. If you guys really think Trae Young doesn't deserve to be an All-Star, tell me why. I really want to know, because I don't see a reason why he shouldn't be a starter. Especially an All-Star. For sure he should be an All-Star. So Trae Young, well deserved. And Joel Embiid, probably the best center in the NBA, and especially in the East. I think he's definitely the best center in the East. There's going to be a lot of good competition on the bench as well for when you come to centers. I'm really going to be watching to see Bam Adebayo actually makes the All-Star game, because there's a lot of centers, but Bam Adebayo, man, he's making good progress to being an All-Star reserve. He's doing extremely well for a Miami Heat team. So, yeah, man, there's a lot. And Joel Embiid, well-deserved. Of course it's well-deserved. He's probably the best center in the NBA. So you can't complain about that for sure. That's probably one of the more guaranteed, nailed on. Everybody knew Joel Embiid was probably going to start. When it comes to both the centers in the East and the West, there are very good centers that don't get enough recognition, as there are for many. So I'm going to quickly just go through a couple of players that could potentially be on the reserves that you could have probably made an All-Star and no one will complain. Now, of course, for the West, it's kind of nailed on. Those starters had to start. But the likes of Nikola Jokic, the likes of Damian Lillard, the likes of even, you could say, Russell Westbrook, even though stats-wise he's probably isn't a starter. There are a lot of fantastic players. They're going to be on the reserve. They're going to be on the bench, and they could start and no one could complain about it. But even on the East, you got the likes of Zach LaVine, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, Derrick Rose. You even got Bam Adebayo that could potentially be an All-Star. There are a lot of fantastic players. Even Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. You could say Andre Drummond's an All-Star. I personally wouldn't, but people can say he's an All-Star, I guess. So there's going to be a lot of competition to see who's an All-Star this year. And yeah, I think the starters are pretty nailed on, especially for the West. For the East, there are a lot of topic for debate. But I think that everybody's well deserved to being a starter. And when it comes to the coaches and stuff, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the coach of the Lakers and the coach of the Bucks. I don't think there's much going on there. It's usually just whoever's first at the time gets the coaching role, unless they, of course, decline being an all-star coach. So, yes, that's all I really have to say. I think everybody that is a starter is well deserved. Let me know if any of your players that didn't make it should deserve to be a starter. Let me know who you think. Tell me why a lot of these players, if you don't agree with my opinion, let me know why. I really want to know. Anyway, this is the Sporting Code. Take care. Peace.